Good evening and welcome to A Cup of Tea with you and Gonzo. Gonzo's episode 11, but it doesn't feel like we've been doing them for that long. It's still quite a new series to me.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? We'll be knowing every time we edit it and we put in the old hashtag number 11 up. But yeah, it's going. I enjoy them. They're one of my favourite shows, to be honest with you. Nice and relaxed. Questions. I don't know what you're going to say. You don't know what I'm going to say. It's good. I like it.
Well, what do you want to start with tonight? Is there anything you're hoping to start with?
Not really, mate. In all honesty, I'm not really up on it, to be fair. I've been working really hard the last couple of days, chasing my tail as far as work's concerned. It was nice to have the football back, though. Didn't obviously get to the game, the Watford game. I had to work again. Gave my ticket to Mike. Well, he paid for it, to be fair. So he went and had a really nice time. He had a great view. But it just seemed like so long, didn't it, with the FA Cup. It was a long time without football. It all started going a bit slow and a bit dead. So it was nice to switch the telly on, watch a bit of the action and get back to it, really.
Yeah, well, I'm not getting to the Chelsea game. So my next game I'm at is not until Leicester. So it's still like 2-3 weeks until I'm at the next games. It's dragging for me anyway. Bloody Sky TV where they're moving their Chelsea game. Are you looking forward to that one? We'll do the preview on Thursday night. We'll do a preview on Thursday night or something. But are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think as soon as Antonio did his handball, I thought of Chelsea. My mind went to Chelsea straight away. But I struggle. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going, but it's a real struggle getting out of that stadium for me on a weeknight because I have to get back to Waterloo and then get a connecting train. So even from Waterloo, it's another sort of hour and 20 minutes back to my house. If I don't get that one at sort of 11:15, then I end up getting home at 2 a.m, which on a school night it's a bit of a drag. But I've got a funny feeling Charlie's joining me, and I've got a funny feeling that we might do something unexpected against Chelsea.
I wish a bad day for me took an hour and 20 minutes to get home. I wish that was my bad day.
It's an hour and 20 minutes from Waterloo, to be fair. It's probably about 3 hours home. But I listen, I'm not competing. You are the.
Yeah, let me
should be worshipped as far as travelling to the game is concerned.
I'm just looking in my drawer here for the violin, but I can't seem to have it tonight. I'm all out of violin for you.
No, you're looking for deep fried bagpipes, probably, mate.
Well, let's talk about. Before I talk about Chelsea, we'll just get a quick plug. We're doing the boats as always. Kids go free. We're doing kids are getting in free for the Chelsea game. If you want to join us on Monday or Gonzo, because I'm not there, just email us hammerschat@gmail.com or click on one of the links below on social media and let us know, and we'll get you an invite out. Well, let's talk about a position which we're going to have to talk about in the preview, but it's still a chunky topic. It's the right back situation. Bilic had a right back on the bench and didn't play him.
Well, he doesn't fancy him, I don't think. He can't do, really, can he? It's a strange one. It's the same thing over and over. I do worry about that might just be his little blind spot in terms of right back. He seems to want to force anyone he can into that, be it Antonio, Chiate, Nordveit. It's almost anyone but a right back. But somebody said to me during the week, or maybe it was last week, actually, it was probably Guy Demille was our last proper right back who was established his play all the time. And when they said it to me, I thought, well, actually, before that, it was probably Lucas Neal, who was we don't have a great history of having right backs in recent, when I say recent years, 10, 15 years, of guys that actually play season upon season in the way that maybe Aaron Cresswell has done for us. 3 years playing a fullback. We struggled on the right side.
Off the top of my head, I think it's a Premier League thing as well. I mean, I'm just trying to think of other clubs that have been in Premier League for a while, and I'm thinking like Sunderland. They've had Bill Bardsley. They had that guy from West Brom. What's his name? Billy Jones, the curly-haired fella. But there's a lot of Premier League clubs just go through right backs. They just recycle. It's left backs as well to an extent sometimes. But the Premier League right now have got a vast amount of good left backs. But right backs, they seem to just recycle and pick up cheap ones that'll do for the next year or two and get them on to the next freebie or something. Just because I think there's almost sometimes too much pressure from fans to go get that big checkbook out and go get the big striker. And it's almost like every year clubs are just wanting a top striker or a top midfielder. The final third of the pitch is what the fans want to see invested in, I think.
Yeah, it's probably not just the fans either. If you're playing Championship Manager or you're playing FIFA or something, it is you probably do the same thing, don't you? You probably do get a striker, you might get a centre back, you'll get a central midfielder. You probably do deal with the fullbacks last, don't you? So yeah, I can sort of understand it. And even thinking about it, just when you were reading off the teams, Man U have really got a winger. We just won the cup. They've got a winger playing at right back, and yeah,
He's good though. He's good. He's a good right back though. Antonio Valencia is probably one of the better right backs in the league. Actually, he's just been converted.
well, it's a good job. Enner Valencia's not still with us because he'd probably be converted by Bilic as well. We've probably had both of Valencia at right back. I don't know. We've got to buy someone. It can't go on and on and on.
Do you think Bilic is not playing by him to make a? Remember under Allardyce, whenever he used to just not do something, we always used to say, "Oh, he's just doing that to prove a point to the board." You know, he would refuse to play a certain striker just because he wanted a new striker, and you'd think you're just doing that to get at the board. I think Bilic is maybe doing the same in Bayern. He said, "I'm not going to play him because I want a new right back. That's not my right back."
No, I don't, because I almost think Bilic is too nice. So I don't know. I think whilst that might be making a point towards the board, I don't think he'd use Byram in that way. You know, I think if Byram if he thought Byram was good enough to play and deserved to play, he would play him, because that would be the right thing to do with Byram. I don't think he would cut his nose off to spite his face. I also don't think he'd be nasty enough thinking, well, Byram actually should be in, but I'm going to leave him out to prove a point to the others. I just don't. I think it's absolutely in Allardyce's makeup. I don't think it's in Bilic's makeup.
What about let's talk about the right backs being linked with. I mean, there's the two from Man City, Sagna and Zabaleta. They're both free, both out of contract coming season. I don't see City renewing either of them yet. So do you think maybe that if I had to put money on it, I would put money on one of those two joining us in the summer? They're free.
Would you? I mean, they're old, aren't they? You know.
They're playing right back. Sagna's playing right back for City just now, and City are in the Champions League spots. They've just thumped Monaco 5-3, so they're going to look like they're going to get into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So you could argue that the right back we're targeting is currently a Champions League quarterfinalist and playing in the top four. And it might only be a 2-year deal, but our next topic is going to be debt. So actually, when we talk about the finances as this come out, I think actually the right back is going to have to probably be someone cheap and cheerful if we want that all-elusive striker.
Do you know, sorry, you mentioned it. I missed that game. That was a humdinger, wasn't it?
The 5-3, it was the best game of football I've seen this season.
Yeah, typical.
Easily the best game of football. A missed penalty, then Falcao missed it, then 2 minutes later he scored one of the best goals I've seen this season, which you need a lot of balls to try that in the Champions League, chipping a keeper who's on their 6-yarder and you're inside the 18-yarder. But it was best game of football. But I would take Sagna easily. Zabaleta I'm not so sure about. But it's quite weird because I consider him to be probably one of the best right backs in the world. When there was the last World Cup, when he was playing for Argentina, and Man City had won the league and that, he was untouchable as a right back.
Yeah, no, and I would have probably said before this season that he was the better of the two. I was surprised City signed him from Arsenal, Sanga. But I think in a modern day with a fullback, you want them to bomb up and down, you want them to overlap. And I'm not sure that, I don't know. You might be right. We might have to do it because of the debt or whatever. But I think it's really, really bad if we want someone for this situation, for this position, and we've wanted them for so long, and then we go out and get someone just because they're cheap. It's a problem position, like with a striker. We should go out and fill it, and we should go out and buy a proper player, not a stopgap.
A lot of them cost money though, and it's big money for a right back. You know, we were linked with that. I can't remember his name. That Atletico Madrid right back that's Croatian. He wasn't getting first team football, but I think he is now. But we quoted 15 to 20 million. I'm sorry, but I don't see us in a million years with these owners writing a check for 20 million quid for a right back. It's just not happening. No. It's just not happening. You know, I think 8 million, 10 million, I'd imagine, is their maximum. But who are you getting for 10 million these days? When we were looking at that Wolves boy, Iorfa, that's what we're being quoted for a Wolves right back. And, you know, it's a bit
Well, that might be what has to be done. Not necessarily a Wolves boy, but maybe that is the way to go, rather than sort of somebody who's getting one last payday. Maybe you do go for someone in the way that we did with Cresswell from the division below and hope that they come good. I know obviously that's what we did with Byram, but I don't know. I don't know. It just seems it's a strange one. And it's something that needs sorting.
I think the wild card, it's not that wild because he's Croatian, is Shakhtar's right back, Cerna, who obviously played under Bilic a lot. He's out of contract in the summer. Do you think he's a possible? I think he's 33, so he's same age as Sarnia, so he is old, but he's not quite old.
Again, it doesn't inspire confidence, but you know what? If he's going to be a proper right back, he's going to know his positioning. He's not going to get caught out, and he's going to be played as a right back and given a fair crack at a whip. Then fair enough. I do worry about some of these people that come over in the twilight of their career, particularly from sort of Eastern Europe and whatnot. If you remember that Raznan Rat, was that his name? Name? Raznan Rat. And, everyone said, oh, no, okay, he's decent. He's played 50 games in the Champions League or whatever. He's got good pedigree. Was he Romanian? He might have been Romanian. Not sure. He's got, international caps, and he came over and he was a bit crap, really. So that's the only thing. Obviously, Cerna's got a better pedigree, but,
A bit like Arbeloa then.
Yeah, why not? I'm not going to stick up for, for any... Do you know what? I've barely seen him play. I'd like to have seen Arbeloa play 7 or 8 games and said, yeah, actually, I've seen him play. He's had a good go and he's not very good, but he might have been good. He might not. I don't know. Again, he's another right back we've not seen play.
I think I would like to see Cerna. He's got a lot of things to his game. He takes free kicks, corners, he scores. He's a captain. And he would have Bilic's trust to an extent. Now, there's a lot of talk about whether Noble should or shouldn't be in the team. And one of my concerns is if you take him out, where's the leader? And people say Winston Reid. I don't like Winston Reid as captain for some reason. I don't know why. I just think he seems to drop a level when he's captain. This guy could almost become that sort of obvious choice because he's got the thing with Bilic. He is a natural leader. And I know you're talking about you don't want a last payday. The 3 that we've mentioned, the 2 from City and Cerna, I think they tend to be grafters. I think they've all got a little bit of, I don't know, hard work in them, if you know what I mean. They all put a shift in, etc. I'd be more confident in them 3 than someone I've never heard of from Inter Milan or something popping up. But if you had to pick one of those right backs, before we move on, you had to pick one of them because they're all free. They've picked the criteria, I'd imagine, on being free, a little bit old, take a little bit of money, but not as much as they're on just now. Which one would you pick?
I probably would go for Zabaleta because for the reasons that we said, if they're all of a similar age, which I think they possibly are, Zabaleta is not going to take any time to settle. I know Sanga's not either. Zabaleta, funnily enough, I've always thought was a bit of a leader. He's very vocal on the pitch. He's Argentinian, which of course we've got that with Lanzini in the team, and so I'd probably go with that if we had to have one of those, one of the pensioners.
I would go Sangna. That would be my first, just because he's playing first choice at City. Whenever I've watched him, he doesn't seem to be a disaster waiting to happen. He seems to still have it in his locker. I wouldn't be surprised if City renew one of those, though. I think they'd be mad to let them both go and then put pressure on themselves to go get 2 new right backs. I think they'd be savvy to keep one and let the other one.
Well, you say that, but they need to spend money. I mean, City. Right, we've got no structure to the show. Why don't we talk about it? He's got to spend a lot of money. He come over a big fanfare, best manager in the world, and he's not looking too clever. He's got a good squad. And, I know Aguero came back into the last thing, but he seems to want his fullbacks to play in quite a funky old position. So I wouldn't be surprised when they get rid of all their fullbacks, Man City, so we might get both of them.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they're doing okay, City. I think they're getting too much stick, actually. I think people make on as if it's a disaster at City right now. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not write them off the Champions League. That's all I'll say. They're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Pep knows Chelsea have probably got that title. I would not be surprised if he thinks, right, I'm just going for the Champions League. And that's something that no City manager's previously done yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if he targets that. Barcelona look like they're on their way out. So for him on paper, the Champions League is going to get a little bit weaker. They're bumped out before the quarterfinals. But let's talk about the debt then. The finances came out a few days ago. Have you had a look at them?
I had a brief look at them. We, as I understand it, we have no more third-party debt. So the money from the Boleyn paid off the third-party debt. So the only debt we have.
Well, we took one out. We took out a third party.
We took out a third-party debt, which was to cover future Premier League television income, which again I found a strange one. But it was obviously so as they could spend the money now. The money from the Boleyn paid off the other third-party debt with an £8 million surplus. That went back in, and I understand. So our only debt is now with the owners, but the owners took interest payments on those debts, as I understand it.
Yeah, well, I think there's 61 million owed to shareholders or something, and then I think there's that 30 million or something that's owed to the third party, which they took out secured against, like you said, secured against the TV money. Yeah. I get it. I get that. I know there's a lot of stick for it. It's cash flow. They've got to make the cogs turn, and without that 30 million, the cogs would turn. But I believe that loan's going to be finished or repaid by July this year, which is a very short loan.
That's the Premier League money, though, because this is the biggest Premier League deal there's ever been.
I don't mind that at all. I get that. It's a bit like if I was to go buy something and put on my credit card and pay off an extra, I've got zero issues with it at all.
But you get interest-free credit if you went and bought a nice new set of curtains and a new violin, because you couldn't find a violin, then you'd probably get it for the next 6 months interest-free. I don't think I wouldn't be surprised if we're paying 3 or 4 million for that.
Oh, surely it's a payday loan at the end of the day, isn't it? But I think we're about 89 million in debt. Are you disappointed by that? Because we were a couple of years ago under the assumptions we'd be debt free at this point, and then they twisted it and said, "Oh, we'll be back debt free," which we are. Or, I mean, they said it's going to be paid off in 3 years' time. So you're thinking, well, that's something.
No, I'm not disappointed purely because I'm not surprised. I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't think it was happening. You say the 89. I think you're quite right. You've really got to look at it as the 60 odd million, really, because as you say, that 30 is getting paid off very, very soon. It won't even be there come the next set of figures. I'm disappointed, though. I'm not surprised. I am disappointed it hasn't come down more. I do wonder what would have happened. I know it's next year's figures, and they're going to be the next set that are released is really going to tell the truth. But what about this money that we were supposedly going to spend on Zaza if he'd have triggered the clause? We had that set aside to pay for him, apparently. And then you've got the money for Gokhan and Torre as well. I know we're dealing with the next year's figures, but it does beg the question, are the following year's figures going to be a whole lot more healthy than the lot we've just seen? The other thing
I imagine though they would have tried to pay over installments or whatever. There's 70 million for Zaza. I'd imagine it would have been 3 years, like 5 point something million a year for the next 3 years or something. Yeah,
but it's still, as a cumulative effect, it's still going to accumulate over time if you do enough of those, isn't it? So, the thing is, the whole promise of moving to the new stadium was so as we could move up to that next level and start challenging the big boys. I think what is becoming apparent when these figures have been released, that is a long, long way off. And that's why I'm not surprised you've heard me say that before, even before the figures were released. I do think we're a million miles away. And actually, I don't feel, as a club, I don't actually feel any richer than Crystal Palace, for instance, So I think we're going to have to wait a long time until we see the benefits of the stadium allowing us to bid for those top players and allowing us to pay the wages that the top guys get.
Funny enough, I'll come back to what I'm going to mention. I watched the Iron Man film. David Sullivan says something in there which kind of backs up what you said a little bit, but also he basically says we ain't going to have the move isn't about getting money. He basically says the move is not to get money, and he tells you what the move's for. I don't want to spoil it for people, but he basically says the move this is public anyway. He just says the move's going to generate an extra 12 to 15 million a year, which is an average to good Premier League player, and that's it. So he said it's not about the move's not about the money. Well, I think what you also missed out is actually it is about the money, but it's money for you when you go to sell the club rather than money to spend on the players. But that's for a different story. What I am surprised at though is they took some of their interest out of the club. They've paid themselves 4 million. I'm surprised at that. I thought they were just going to let it build and build and build and build. But they're still charging 7% interest. It's a bit. Where do you stand on that? I know we touched upon it here and there, but where do you stand on that? Do you get it, or does it piss you off a little bit? It pisses me off.
Again, I'm just not surprised. I mean, they're businessmen. They didn't get to where they are by doing things for free. I think if they were taking wages and they were paying themselves, so what did they take? They took 4 million. What, between the two of them?
I think so. But that's obviously. I think they were owed 12.3 million on interest, and I think they've taken 4.1 of that.
See, that's a lot. That is a lot. There's no doubt about it. To have and absolutely, they've, you know, if what they say is they've loaned the club and it's their money, then they're absolutely right. And if what they've deemed appropriate to take is 12 million, then that's their right to do so. But I tell you what, to my ears, that seems like a lot of money to take out of the club. All right, fair enough. You say they've taken out 4 million, but it just seems a lot of money for the club's coffers to owe the owners, if you know what I mean. In interest. I don't know if they'd have been better served. I think. I mean, so what do you say? Like a Premier League player. Let's say Andy Carroll's on what, 5-6 million a year. Okay. The funny thing is, I think Karen Brady, she took £1 million or something like that. Her wages
just under.
It's about £1 million. I don't think anyone's batted an eyelid, and I'll tell you why. Because actually, compared to what Andy Carroll earns or whatever, then actually £1 million to you and me, it's a fortune. But in terms of a Premier League's payroll, it's not an awful lot at all. I don't know if the owners have always said, "Oh, we don't take a wage." Actually, I don't know if they'd have been better off not just giving an interest-free loan and actually taking a wage. And I don't think there'd have been this criticism, because they could have turned around and say, "Well, hold on a second, I'm earning a third of the money Andy Carroll does, and I'm here and I'm pledging." I think sometimes there's a way of doing things, and I think taking a wage probably looks a whole lot better than saying, you know, we're owed 12 million interest because we lent West Ham money.
The way I see it is, if they had said, "Here's your loan and here's your 7% interest. We're doing this because we're businessmen," they do that, and then they say, we've got this club because we love the club. We saved the club because we're fans. Well, if you're a fan, why are you lumping 7% onto this? You know, like, I don't know. It just, when you've already got that, I know you've got your analogy, and I agree with it, that when you don't stop, when you've got so much money in the bank, you just don't stop.
Yeah.
But they're living comfortably. If they weren't charging interest, they haven't took any interest out until now, since 2011. So it's taken them 6 years almost to take some interest out on this loans. So they're living comfortably. Is 12 million to them really going to make a difference in the grand scheme of things, in terms of all the negative PR it brings, all the fans' criticism it brings? Can you actually put a price on what the negativity comes from that? Because it feels like they have put a price on it and said, you know what, 7%, I will take all the negativity that comes for it. 5%, that's not too small for me. And I know people say it's business, but I think Gibson at Middlesbrough gave his club interest free. Mike Ashley at Newcastle, as much as you hate him, he loaned Newcastle a director's loan interest free. He only took out what he's put in. He's not taking any percentage on top of it. There's a lot of owners doing. It's just frustrating that they are lumping it on a little bit. But we've only got 22 million in the bank. It's not much, is it?
You've got 22 million in the bank?
No, I wish. West Ham got 22 million. Books. Now, what I will say is, I'm not an accountant, but from my previous job, I can read a profit and loss sheet of paper. So I was reading it as a profit and loss, as if it was my shop. So I'm not an accountant, but I'm reading it as profit and loss. And it looked like we had 22 million quid in the bank, roughly. It's not a great deal of money, though, is it, for a Premier League football club? Because, like you said, where's the Zaza money in that? Well, it's not in the bank, because there's still a lot there.
No, but what I'd say is, in terms of the terrible stories that there are in football of clubs being run into the ground, actually, it's quite, apart from Arsenal apparently have always got 100 million in the bank or whatever. It's actually quite refreshing to hear that we have got some money in the bank. So I think that's good, because they're normally loss-making ventures.
Yeah, well,
So
I guess that's true, because they'll obviously know what's coming into the club in the next 12 months and what's going out. And if they are starting to generate a small profit, I think last year we came out a small loss. It was like £4 or £5 million loss in the last 12, which isn't that big for a Premier League club, I suppose.
Well, that'll be the owner's argument, of course. The owner's argument will be, well, hold on a second, we are paying off this debt. Yes, we're taking some interest, but we've turned it into a loss-making venture that was going to go out of business to something that's turning a profit. That will be their thing. The difference is between us and them is that if there's that big American lottery or whatever, the Spanish one, El Gordo, if you won your 160 million on that, not that you could buy West Ham for 160 million, but let's say you could, you just buy it, wouldn't you? And you just run it because you're a West Ham fan, and you just do what you could. You wouldn't be taking money. I think, hey, look at all this money, I'm going to go and buy West Ham. And you certainly wouldn't be thinking, how can I make profit off of West Ham? So I think that's probably the difference. That's why it's quite hard for fans to understand.
Well, of course it's hard. I mean, me and you do Hammers chat. We don't get anything out of it. If anything, it costs us money.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it frustrates a lot of fans. They plough money into the club in their own various ways, whether it's merchandise, whether it's season tickets, whether it's travelling, whether it's staying over, whether it's food, whether it's taking their kids, whatever. There's a pressure on as a parent when your kid says from Santa, can I have the latest West Ham kit with such and such on the back? And you're going to the shop and it's £100. There's a pressure on you as a parent to go get that for your kid. And as a football fan, I think that's why it sort of irks you a little bit that you're scraping around, or not necessarily scraping, but you're putting your hard-earned money into this club, and you've got the guy at top who's been in the paper saying he's a billionaire. Guy at the top sitting there whacking 7% onto his loan while he's a billionaire, swinging around in his chair, etc. And you're having to win, paying £100 for a kid's shirt. And imagine you've got 2 kids, bloody hell. Well, you'll know what it's like. But you know what? I think that's why sometimes as fans we just don't get it. I still, to an extent, don't get it. I know they're businessmen, but they keep reminding us they're football fans. So I don't see the football fan in them, and when I'm reading that account to an extent. But I'm not an accountant. I could be totally reading it wrong.
Well, it's like I say. I mean, you said it. You said 6 years. You had two figures there. You said 6 years and 12 million. Well, one is very easily divisible by the other, and that is basically, like as I said, they could have just taken $1 million a year each, and no one would have batted an eyelid. And in comparison to what some of the other chief executives are on in other Premier League football teams, it would be nothing. I just think there's a way of doing it and a way of not doing it, and this is the way of not doing it in terms of PR.
To be fair, our own director, the one under them, is on nearly £1 million as well, which was what, like you said, if he did that simple division, that's what Sullivan and Gold would have been on. Brady's on it. That might include a bonus, though. It doesn't stay if it's a bonus or not. It's just what they've been paid, so it could include a bonus for the move, etc., etc. Anything else you want to talk about with the money?
No, I don't think it's crystal clear quite yet. I mean, I know we've discussed it. I think the real conversation will be next year's figures, because in this year's figures, what we don't have is we were not really seeing it reflected on how much benefit we've had from the Olympic Stadium. And because the Olympic Stadium, we're not paying for policing, we're not paying electricity bill, we're not paying for all of this stuff that we were previously paying for. We're just paying this sort of £2.5 million a year, which again, as soon as that stadium gets a sponsor, as long as it's over 4 million, that's going to go down as well, that 2.5 million. So we don't have to pay the stadium expenditure. So those will be the real true figures. And then we will actually know where we stand. I think we were just about in the European top 20 teams this year. We were 18th, possibly something like that. Next year, you'd expect to see us go up again, not into the top 3 or 4, of course, but we might start edging towards, I think we'd comfortably be in 13th, 14th, maybe higher. Then we'll see a true reflection of where we are and what the stadium's done to us. I just hope that when that happens, if what we are seeing in terms of, you talk about a spreadsheet or a balance sheet, if what the money is saying when they do these, that we are the 13th biggest, richest club in the world, I do hope we are buying players and behaving in a fashion similar to the 13th richest club in the world. That's all I would say. What I don't want to do is be the 13th richest club in the world and be trying to nick a right back because they're on a free.
Do you think the summer is a make or break type period for the owners a little bit? I get the feeling it's coming to a make and break point where the summer pissed us all off. January has frustrated us. I think we all get it to the extent as to why they're waiting for the summer. We get it. We might not like it, but we get it. And then on Saturday, we're playing with no right back and no striker, which is what we did in January. So we're frustrated, we're angry, but we get it. You can sort of half understand it to an extent. But do you think come summer, it's sort of your excuses are gone, you've got none, you've got no safety net, you need to go out and get us something? People.
There's no smoke and mirrors. There's no loan signing who we're going to make permanent. There's no Lanzini, right? We were going to spend 17 million on Zaza. We got 25 million from Payet or whatever. All that. I expect us to be spending 50 to 60 million. Now, in big scheme of things, make no mistake about it, I expect Man United to buy Griezmann and someone else. I would expect Man United to spend 160 million next window. City, I think, possibly might do 200 million. So let's not pretend that 50, 60 million is going to make a dent into those top teams. It ain't. But I do expect us comparatively to be sort of spending a quarter of what they spent, and that is 50, 60 million. And I think that the money certainly is in the bank to do that. The money from Payet plus next year's TV deal. If we're not, then why did we move? And that's all I would say, really. So yes, I don't think it's make or break for the owners. The owners, if they want to still be here, will still be here. But that's what I expect us to be spending and pushing on.
Do you think they think they'll lose even more support from the support if they continue their sort of frustrating ways in the transfer market?
No, I'll tell you why. Because I don't even think that it's an all-time high for them anyway. So I still think the fans are trying to figure out whether they like it or they don't like it. I think people are still undecided about the move, are still undecided about the owners, still undecided about the team in many respects. What I do think is I don't expect a big rush of people to renew their season tickets. I expect people to not renew. I'm expecting less season tickets. So there's only one way that they're going to get those season tickets up, particularly if they're going to expand it to the 60,000, and that is to buy marquee players, bums on seat players. So they have to do it. There is no thing. Otherwise, I don't know, whatever we sold, you're going to have 5,000 less season tickets next season if they don't make some exciting signings. And I don't mean people that no one's ever heard of. I mean some exciting signings that people like, you know.
I think they'll lose even more support. I think they've already lost some of it in the last 8 months. Since May onwards, I think they've lost some support. And I think there's a lot of people watching them this summer. And it's a case of, I've sat on the fence with the owners or been on your side. Now I'm on the fence. You need to get me back onto the other side because I'm willing to jump over to the side that's against you. And I think it's going to be a very tricky couple of months. And they don't want to leave it until we don't want to be doing a show on transfer deadline day waiting on someone, because it will not be good. It will not be good. But the build up to that will not be good. There's no football in the summer. There's no excuses. The players are free as soon as the season finishes. There's no football again until August. There's nothing interfering. We're at the Euro Championships, which ballsed up a little bit. Our bloody manager was at the flipping thing as well, sitting on the TV instead of going out and looking at players himself. But this summer, there's no excuses. I think it's make or break for a lot of people. Not everyone, but for a lot of people. Well, we announced the competition winners. We'll do that now before we move on.
For the DVDs?
No. We've just launched that for the premiere. The premiere.
Oh, yeah, do it, mate. Do it.
Yeah. For you that I've been watching, we've been giving away 2 tickets to the premiere on Thursday for the movie Iron Man, and we've done it on the forum, Facebook, and Twitter.
Did I win?
No, it wasn't you.
You said you were going to do a little, you know.
You didn't send me the money.
All right, fair enough. You better do a proper one.
You're not as good as Aldice or Redknapp. You're not quite there yet. You're just as bad as that fat keeper for Sutton. That's how bad you are at backhanders. Everyone knows about it.
That's right. Yeah.
Put that pie down. So the winner is Alex Ramos. We'll get in touch with you. You're going to the premiere on Thursday night to watch Iron Man, so enjoy it. You haven't seen Iron Man, have you?
No, not that one. No,
I have.
I know you have. I know you were texting. You were texting me when you were watching it.
Yeah, and you said, "What's that?" I said, "It's the film." And you went, well, "Yeah, but what's that?" So it's my laptop.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a review on Tuesday night. Tomorrow night, my review of the film will be on our channel, and in that film, we're giving away one copy of the DVD. So you guys on YouTube, hit the subscribe button now because you'll need to be subscribed, and there'll be a question in the video which you have to comment below, and that'll be entered in. We're also giving away another 2 copies. Gonzo, we're giving away 3 copies. Are we kind or are we kind?
We're very, very kind, very generous, very generous. We're keeping 20 for ourselves and selling them at a car boot sale. But we're getting 3 of them.
I don't need one. I've already seen him. And we're going to give one away on the forum at hammerschat.com. And that's going to be up tonight, actually. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, we'll be launching it on the forum, and we'll be giving away one on social media. So someone from Facebook or Twitter will win the other one. The posts are live on social media right now. So facebook.com/hammerschat and Twitter @hammers_chat is the pinned tweet on there, and on Facebook, just share and like the page or whatever. And then you're entered into it. But yeah, we're giving away 3 copies, 2 tickets to the cinema. Right, Andy Carroll. What would you like to discuss first? Would you like to discuss his mystery, not so mystery injury, or would you like to discuss his Chinese takeaway order?
Takeaway, yeah. I had a Chinese takeaway tonight, actually. Yeah, it's a tricky. You talk about his injury, because I mean I was a little bit surprised because I saw him on Wednesday, and I was surprised that he was injured.
Well, he played against Middlesbrough. Now, apparently he had the groin injury against Middlesbrough. They gave him an injection, slapped his arse, put him out on the pitch. He obviously scored. We won. Middlesbrough's in the January transfer window. I don't know if this has any relevance, but just worth remembering. January transfer window shuts. Oh, look, Andy Carroll's got an injury. He's out for the next couple of games. So then he had a late fitness test against Watford, didn't quite make it. Bullish has basically said he's going to be back for Chelsea, but was it frustrating you that he's injured again?
No, sorry, I keep saying this. I sound like just unsurprised all the time, aren't I? I'm just not surprised. I say it every.
I didn't ask you were surprised. I asked you were frustrated.
No, because and that's what I mean. It's hard to be frustrated when you expect it coming. You know what I'm saying? I'll get frustrated if something surprised me. No, I think I was frustrated in the first season or the second season. The word is not frustrated. The word is resigned. I am now resigned to it. I say every season we're lucky to get 20 games out of him, and I honestly think that. It's just the way of it, and if I'm frustrated with anything, it's the transfer policy. It's the fact that I know he's injured. I'm resigned to it. I'm not the only one that knows that. You know he's injury prone. Everyone knows he's injury prone. So why are we left in a situation where we know he's going to get injured? It would be a miracle. It would be a first if he didn't get injured. Well, all the evidence suggests he will. So why do we not have a backup plan? And by a backup plan, I don't mean Ashley Fletcher. You know, that's not what I'm saying. Somebody who's just come to the club and is a kid. I mean, a proper striker, established goal-scoring striker. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's clear Fletcher and Clare are clearly not the backup plan from Bilic anyway, because he didn't use either of them against Watford. But what about the rumours, and then it's sort of been confirmed that there were bids from China for Andy Carroll. Would you have sold them, or would you? Obviously, we didn't sell him because we had no options. But if the bids came in again in the summer, say, would you sell him because he's only got 12 months to go come summertime?
Well, I'll give you that. That I was surprised. I've been unsurprised. That I was surprised. I was surprised with the links with China. He's very, very settled in Essex. Very settled. Having work done to his house by all accounts, and it was a really, really weird one. He's very settled with his wife and his child, and his wife's family are all local, and I found it very weird. I think they've actually got an option. Yes, his contract does have 12 months to run, but there is an option to extend it, which is in the club's favour, so they can do that. It's the China thing. China would come in for Paul Pogba, and he'd be for sale. Okay, because Man U bought him for 80 million. If China came in with 250 million, it'd be off. So China can afford Andy Carroll. I'd be very surprised if Andy Carroll would go to China. So I'm not even entirely sure that we will have the choice of choosing a fee. And I wouldn't blame someone like him for not taking his young family out to somewhere. You can go to France and you can get by with the language. It's a Latin-based language. You go out to China, you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and you're not going to understand a thing anyone says apart from the liaison officer at the club. I don't blame anyone for going out there and earning loads of money, but I also don't blame anyone for refusing to go. And Andy Carroll's a wealthy man. I'm not sure he'd go out there.
Well, Carlos Tevez is pissed off with it already, and he's on 600 grand a week or something. He's unhappy in China.
Yeah.
It's quite obvious it's going to happen, given the laws they've got out there and stuff. I'm not an expert on it, but I've seen an article once saying why are players going? Do they know about these laws? And I read it. I thought, crikey, that puts me off going. But would you sell Andy Carroll come the summer? Let's just say he was willing to go for his 150 grand a week. He thought, actually, you know what, I'm going to take this. Because
Andy Carroll has actually got us out of trouble. Even if he doesn't come back to fitness anymore, we were down the bottom of the league. Andy Carroll came to form, and we're back up. Okay, so throw some money at me, and I'll tell you whether I'll sell him.
Well, let's play yes no then. 15 million.
How much? 15?
Yeah.
No way. No, Andy Carroll. Love Andy Carroll. No way.
You're not David Sullivan.
Come on, you're asking 15. That's a no. It's a no. I'm telling you, go away, China.
22.5 million.
No way. I love Andy Carroll. You're not having him.
22.5 million up front. No stagger clauses in your bank tomorrow. I see you've only got 22 million in the bank right now, so you'll have 44.5 million in the bank tomorrow.
China, it's going to be a lot better next season. Stop bothering me. Andy Carroll's not for sale.
22.6 million.
No, see, you're just doing that. You're negotiating like Arsenal did for Suarez. You just stop wasting my time.
I'm negotiating like David Sullivan does. I'm David Sullivan you, or David Sullivan in fashion.
Well, I listen. If you can't be serious, I'd prefer you to stop making these derisory bids.
Well, I'll have him on loan, and then we'll arrange a clause.
No, he's not going. You've said nothing to tempt me at all. Sorry.
In all seriousness, what would you accept for Andy Carroll trying to come in? You know the factors, right? Come this summer, you've got the transfer window ahead of you, so you've got time on your hand. You've got your highest. He's the highest earner at the club on 68 grand a week or whatever. You know he's injury prone. You just spoke about it. He's been injured again this season. Right now he's injured. So he's missed 3 or 4 games plus the start of the season, etc. So what? You try and pull their pants down, don't you? Quite frankly, because they're mental and they'll pay anything. So you okay then. Okay, let's knock China on the head. If a French club came in for him, you said he would go there. So if a French club came in for him, what's your price for Andy Carroll?
Well, if a French club came in and a French club offered 25 million, you'd probably have to take it with his injury record. But if China come in for a French club, it's 25 million. Apart from Marseille, Marseille is 100 million, but aside from that, if a PSG, everyone's got a different price, but PSG is 35 million, to China is 50 million. You'd have to chance your arm at it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I wouldn't want to see him sold. I love Andy Carroll. I wouldn't want to see him sold. Right, nearly question time. Live chat. For you watching this playback, there's a live chat on YouTube. So live chat on YouTube. Get your comments and questions fired at us. They're talking about Andy Carroll right now.
Are they?
Yeah, someone said, Scott said I'd fuck him off for chicken balls and an egg fried rice.
That was not dissimilar to my dinner, Scott.
You had balls for your dinner?
Pretty much.
Well, that's what some people do in a toilet these days, I suppose. If that's approachable.
Yeah, funny enough, I've lost my cushion. I'm a bit, you know what I mean? Got a bit of a sore bum, to be fair.
So you had balls, now you've got a sore bum.
Absolutely, mate.
Right, no questions yet. People are just talking about Payet. I don't want to talk about Payet. We're not talking about Payet. I don't like seeing people talk about him still. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Gonzo?
No, not overly. I'm a bit disappointed that the old questions are not coming through on the ticker tape. To be fair, I thought we'd normally filled in tough questions. I bet they are. No, we don't want to talk about Payet. I was going to say something about him then. But,
well, here we go. Raymond says, "What would you buy first, a striker or a right back?"
Oh dear, that's a good question actually. Striker. We have a right back in Byram.
Yeah, I'd buy striker too. Our Heart says, do you think Snodgrass should be judged so harshly after one poor performance? I think he's referred to social media there because
Okay.
and he was getting quite a bit of stick.
Was he? Okay. Yeah, I was just about to say he wasn't judged harshly. We judged him on the game and thought a substitution should be made. No, I mean, if somebody was making on social media final decisions that he wasn't good enough for the club, then no, that's ridiculous. He had a poor game, and we can all, all players can have a poor game, can't they?
Yeah, I already know your answer, but I'll ask it anyway. Connor Matthews says, do you think Slavin should be offered a new contract in the summer?
In the summer? Yeah. In the summer, absolutely. Yeah, not right this second. Yeah, all negotiations, Connor, in the summer. Yeah, absolutely.
I would give him a new contract today. Sean and someone else, I missed the first name, says, realistically, who's your main priority as a striker for the summer?
I've always I quite like the look of Sturridge, Sean. I've wanted Sturridge for a little while now. I mean, we always have a thing about him being injury prone. He is. I would like to think we could go and bid for him. I'd certainly prefer him to. We might be getting linked with Batshuayi again, but Batshuayi has done nothing to force his way in at Chelsea. He's done nothing when he's played at Chelsea to show me that he was worth the 30-odd million. Not only that, he was so poor at Chelsea, they actually wanted to buy Llorente off of Swansea, who they thought would be better than him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Sturridge for sure.
Mark asks, who would you sell in the summer? Now, let's put a twist on that. Let's get away from the obvious ones. Arbeloa, let's get away from him. But some names out of a hat. You've got Nordveit. Figuli's been linked with a move away. I don't know, actually. Everyone seems to be getting a game right now. Is our squad that skinny? But is there anyone you would sell? Maybe that's sort of like a. Ooh, you would sell him. That's a bit controversial. Have you got any of them that you would sell?
I don't think I would. No, I really want to keep hold of all the players in the squad, and that includes both goalkeepers. And yeah, you would be looking at someone like Nordveit, or just expecting Kaleri to move on, as I expect him to move on anyway. All the big guns, I really want to keep. We want to add to the squad.
The only player I would sell is James Collins, simply because I think we've got a replacement in Burke ready to come in next season. But I want to see as little going out as possible, because as soon as you sell one, you've got to replace one. And last season we saw what disadvantages you get on disrupting the squad too much. So let's just keep the summer signings to 3-4 players, 5 at the most, and that's if you go for a Joe Hart type special acquisition. Right, let's go back to the. Right, here we go. JP Hammer says, would you bring back any of the players that are out on loan that are not getting played and give them a chance? It's a good question, actually. Would you agree now we're sort of in dead rubber positions, sort of 13 at the lowest, 8th at the highest, maybe in the league? Do you think we're in there for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, hello, John. Good question. I would. Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say bring back Burke. Bring back Oxford. Now, the thing is, I'm quite excited about this partnership that is starting to form between Font and Reed. But they both look really good together, and it's really promising. So maybe I would bring Oxford back just to play him at right back and just to give him some game time there. We might as well, if we're going to play Kiate there and we're not going to play Byram, then we might as well bring Oxford back. Yeah, he's one. And of course, the obvious one that you'd probably want to bring back is Martinez, although Martinez is getting game time, and that's why surely you send players out on loan. So Sacco looks very, very close to full fitness. What do I know? To me, he looked close to full fitness. So I would expect him back. So maybe if Martinez came back, he probably wouldn't play. So probably best leave him out at Oxford getting game time.
I would take Burt back for the same reasons. I know he's had injuries and stuff, but I would take him back. But the two players I want to see, well, the one player I want to see next season is Cullen, but he's playing at Bradford. He's ripping up at Bradford. Just leave him be. Just leave him there. Got a couple more. If I miss your question, do ask it again, because I will get to it. Mike, Big Face Mike says, would you go for Hart or any other keeper, or stick with who we have? Now, I think before we answer this, because of course our answers are going to be, well, yeah, there's better keepers out there. I think we have to bear in mind our budget, etc. If you're going to fork out 10, 50 million on Joe Hart, now you said you want 50 million spent in the summer. If you're forking out 15 million, that's just under a third of your money gone.
Yeah, when we have two perfectly able keepers on there, it's not a priority position. If like you say, we've got 50 million, then probably not. If it does turn out that we do end up selling somebody and getting a really good price from, let's say we sold Faguli and got 20 million for Faguli, and all of a sudden we got 70 million, 80 million, and that's 80 million that we're actually going to spend, then maybe you do look to do something like that, and then you flog one of the current keepers for 7-8 million, then yeah, it's probably worth doing. But no, it's not a priority, Mike, to be fair, mate.
I think it depends on, get a striker right back in first, and depends just how well you do transfer business wise with them. If you get a striker in for 20 million, that's good, and you get right back in, that's free, Sagna. Then all of a sudden you've only spent 20 million, you fill both positions, and yeah, you probably could, but you need to get the other ones sorted first. That's low down priority. And if someone bids for Joe Hart like that, which I think they will, do not enter a bidding war. Do not get tied up in that while your other targets, your strikers, are all buggering off somewhere else while you're got your nose in the Joe Hart deal. Just stick to those two positions and wait. I want to talk about this one. This is a good one. Cheers, Victor. What do you think on Obiang's links to Liverpool in the press? I forgot about this. I was keeping my thoughts off the forum on this for a reason. And cheers, Victor.
Victor, I would be gutted, mate. I think and hope they're not true. I'd be absolutely gutted, I've got to say. He looks like the one midfielder at the moment who seems to have a little bit of everything in his locker. He just gets better and better, and he's really benefiting from game time at West Ham. Where anyone got 18 million from, I've no idea at all. And I don't want to get into a game of how much I'd sell Obiang for. I don't want to sell Obiang at all. He's a fantastic player, and he's a funny guy. He's really good for team spirit and all the rest of it. We need to keep hold of Obiang, whatever happens.
I'll tell you something I find interesting about this. People have said it's a son, doesn't count, bollocks, it probably is, except I'll tell you what, Steven Gerrard made a comment about how Obiang was one of the best players he's ever seen. When he first seen him, in terms of first impression, Gerrard made a comment that Obiang really impressed him more than any other player has to an extent for the first impression. Gerrard's just gone back to Liverpool, and I don't think it's too much of a coincidence that this link's happened. They need a holding midfielder, Liverpool. It's what they're missing, that and a left back, and Obiang's ripping it up right now, and I would not be surprised if Liverpool came in for Obiang. Steven Gerrard really likes him. If there's anyone that can influence Liverpool, it's Steven Gerrard. Now, I know Klopp's his own man, blah, blah, blah. But we'll see. Lesbian, there's a space. It's lesbian, but it's got a space. Lesbian, however you want to say it. Interesting question. He says, do we have a philosophy? Because we're speaking about Klopp, he's got a philosophy. High pressing, counter-attack of football, blah, blah, blah. Do we have one?
No, Les. No, we don't, mate. I don't think so. I think, as I've always said, I think Bilic is a reactionary manager, reactive manager. I'm not sure what the word is, but I think he reacts to things happening. I'm not sure. I'm sure he puts teams out to win. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure he does what he thinks is the best team, but I wouldn't say a philosophy, an identity. I wouldn't say there's a big stamp which is stamped with the Slaven Bilic identity. No, I don't think so. But I'll tell you what. Having said that, he is a lot closer to the West Ham way and the West Ham way of doing things than a few of our more recent managers. At least he does play nice football, and I guess that is an identity of sorts.
I was about to say, I think his philosophy would be entertaining attacking football. I think he tries to stick to that, even when games when he shouldn't. Man City, when we got smashed by them in the league, that was his fault because he tried to go toe-to-toe with Man City. He didn't set up to defend. He went toe-to-toe with Man City, and we got spanked because they are technically better footballers than us, and we both turned up. They were going to spank us. They turned up. We went toe-to-toe, and we were never going to last 12 rounds against a Man City like that. But he took the gamble because Man City weren't playing in that gear. Man City turned up with in third gear, a 7 out of 10 performance. Going toe-to-toe with them, you can't beat them. And for that, I got pissed off with that one because of the attitude of the players in that game. I find it hard to criticise Bilic because I want to see us going for it. And again, like against Chelsea, I'm going to want to see us go for it. And if we get tanked, but we give it our all and we play attacking football, that's what I want to see, because this is why I wanted Allardyce out. So I'm not going to just change it and say, well, actually, sorry, Bilic, you're too attacking. There's at times he should shot, but while we're comfortable in the league, go for it. And that's what he's done. And I think that is his philosophy: attacking football, entertaining football. And you were talking about getting a sign and put bums on seats. Bilic's football puts bums on seats, I think.
It does, but I think, and that's why, I just said it. I said I think he plays in the West Ham way and more attacking football. I think what stops him having an identity is he doesn't do that within a set parameter of a set. He seems to flip between formations and personnel quite a lot. So I think that stops him having perhaps an overall identity in my mind, certainly.
I missed the name. Sorry, I forgot your name because I got into a mini rant there. He says, would you sell Ayew?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't be looking to sell him, but if an offer came in, yeah, he's not done anything for West Ham yet. Money back would do me.
I wouldn't take 25. I think there's a lot to come from Ayew. I really liked Ayew. I was really excited by him. I ain't selling Ayew unless it's higher 20 million or something and make a tidy profit off it.
He may do well. He may do well for us, and he looks decent enough, but he's not done anything at West Ham yet. And if I think he was bought as a panic buy, so I'd take it.
Our heart says, with Lanzini's recent form in the absence of Payet, obviously, do you think it's possible for him to leave for a bigger club in the summer? Of course it's possible, but are you worried?
I am. I absolutely am. I mean, this one has been bugging me, and before the Obiang thing came up, he was the one. He's good enough to play anywhere. I'm quite certain of it. There was a thing at the start of the season, if you remember, do you remember we were linked with Juan Mata? And if you'd have asked at the start of the actually now, I wouldn't. I would now think that Lanzini would be better than him. I think he's up there. I think Coutinho's a really good player, as I said a couple of days ago. I think Lanzini is right up there, and I'd be very, very. Not only am I worried about it, I'll be very surprised if there's not a big bid comes in for him in the summer.
Do you know what? Although I've been critical of the owner strike, as normal to an extent, I'm not that worried because of our owners. Under these guys, I can't tell you the last time we've seen a player leave that we wanted to keep. I know you'll say Payet, but that was a 1 in a million situation. I'm actually glad they sold him, to be honest. I think a lot of fans were glad they sold him. Payet shafted West Ham, not David Sullivan shafting West Ham. That's two different things. David Sullivan selling Lanzini for 30 million would be him shafting West Ham. But it was Payet that did the naughtiness, the play in that. I'm actually confident. As much as I sometimes think, why do we offer contracts to a player one summer and a year later he's getting a new contract? Well, actually he's working. He keeps tying him down to 5 years. You just can't leave. And if you do leave, you've got at least 4 years to go. We're commanding big bucks for you. So that's praise I will give the owners. I'm confident under them, Lanzini won't be going anywhere unless it's stupid money, and I mean 40 million at least. Stupid money.
Yeah, I just worry about them. Some of them, when I say them, whoever bids for him, unsettling the player, and it'd be very, very difficult for a player like Lanzini if somebody like Chelsea were to bid and they're in the Champions League and they're champions. Does he then say, no, look, I really want to go? Yeah, I'd worry. I'd worry about that. We got 2 or 3 really good players, and Lanzini's certainly one of them, alongside Reed and Obiang, certainly, and Antonio, of course. So, yeah, any bids come in for those guys, they're major players for West Ham.
I'll be upset if Lanzini goes. Stephen Weller says, what do you think of Feghouli in the last few games? ? Impressive? ? Keep him? ? Showing some passion, which is good to see. I think it basically means, what's your thoughts on Feghouli recently?
Yes, Steve. Keep him or whatever. Yes, absolutely. Impressed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I mean, he's turned my opinion of him around. That's for sure. I would have been happy to get rid of him for the same reason I said about Ayew. I said about Ayew, he's not done anything at West Ham. Gio did ask me a few weeks ago. I said he's not done anything at West Ham. If 9 million comes in, take it. Well, you know what? Now he's shown me that he's better than a £9 million player. We keep him. And he grafts as well. I like him. Quality and a bit of graft.
More to come for him. He liked Hammerstadt's tweet yesterday, the day before.
Who?
I put a tweet. Figuli, I put a tweet praising Figuli's crossing. Liked it. Sophia knows. Raymond asks, is this Mark Noble's last season in the first team and as captain? There's a lot of debate going about with him right now. He got a lot of stick after Saturday's game. I thought he was getting far too much stick. I don't think he played bad. I seen someone say, he didn't play superb, but since when does that make you have a bad game if you don't play superb?
No, it's not Mark Noble's last season as captain. Is it his last season as being a first team starter in every game? Possibly, but he'll still play a lot. Next season, Mark Noble will still be captain, and Mark Noble will still play 25, 30 first team games for West Ham. I'm pretty damn sure about that. He's integral to that team spirit, and which was so quickly shattered, I think, with the Payet thing. He's an integral part of that club. He's saying Mr. West Ham. He really is, and we need that for identity. I've always said that we need that for identity. There, he shouldn't be guaranteed. No one's guaranteed a starting place, though. That's clear.
Yeah, I agree with that. Everyone knows my feelings on it. No, he's not. I would still start him against Chelsea. I think he played well on Saturday, and I don't know what more he has to do, to be honest with you. It's not his job to create the chances. That's not his job. His job is to give the ball to the people that create chances. He did that on Saturday. It's not his fault Snodgrass couldn't cross it and hit anything. It's not his fault that no one was in the box. All he could do is keep the ball and recycle the ball. That's what he does. He recycles the ball, and he does it bloody well. He's the best passer I've ever seen at West Ham in my lifetime. Carrick, Rudolph, but he wasn't here long enough for me. Noble is the best passer I've seen at West Ham in my lifetime. I will say that. I think he is. He recycles possession, and it's not his fault no one comes gets a bloody thing from him and stuff. He just refuses to boot it, and we don't want to see. I'll tell you something right now. I'll tell you this. The next game we play without Mark Noble in midfield and play Kiati and Obiang, I predict right now we will play more long balls than we have this season because he will be missing from the centre of that part. The link-up will be gone. Czech Kiati will stand next to an opponent. He won't want the ball from centre back. He never does. He hides. Czech Kiati hides. If he gets the ball, fine. He won't go looking for it like Noble and Obiang do. So as soon as you take Noble out of there, our link from defence to the attacking midfield will disappear, and I predict we will start launching it. That's my prediction anyway. Right, we're going to start rolling this up. There's a few more comments coming in. We'll take a couple more.
Yeah, give a couple more questions while we're.
So, but I've missed them. They're all chatting now. So
sorry, just so as you know, in this live chat, they disappear off the screen so quickly. Sometimes they're gone by the time we've discussed the latest thing.
The Mark Noble thing. I forgot because I started a rant again. But you said about Mark Noble being West Ham. When you watch the Iron Man film, you come back and tell me he's not West Ham. Oh, Jesus, man. There's a couple of things in here he says. That is not a footballer speaking. That's a West Ham fan speaking. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to quote out that, but just some things. When I seen it, I thought I'm surprised they were allowed to leave that in. But it's not by the club, I suppose. But there's something he said. I thought, the club can't be happy that you've left that in. Mark Noble said it, but I felt a little bit more in love for him, Gonzo. I didn't think it was possible. Ian Welford says, when both fit, who would you have at left back, Masuaku or Creswell?
Creswell at the moment.
Creswell for me as well. As someone just asked, I missed his name. This is what we're going to end on. This is a question we're going to end on. Before I come up with it, it's a tough question. It's the hardest question of the night. And this is the question I want you guys, I hope, to answer as well. Comment below. Iron Man Film, make sure you check out our video Tuesday night, my review. We're giving away a DVD on those social media on the forum. Come onto our forum. Hit the subscribe button. We've got a video coming out when we hit 5,000 subscribers. Maybe before then if we get a bit bored. It's a completely new thing. Special one. Gonzo, if the right price bid came in, and we're not going to discuss what the right price is. If the right price bid came in for Obiang, Antonio and Reed, and let's put Lanzini into the mix. You have to sell two. Who are you selling?
Oh. Okay, all right. I have to, do I? Someone's putting a gun to my head. I've got to sell two, right?
Yeah, he didn't say Reed. He didn't say Reed, but I'm putting Reed in there because okay. Reed is...
So, I've got to sell... Oh dear. Reed?
I'll tell you one player I'm going to sell. Out of that four, the one that comes to my head like that, Antonio. I'm selling Antonio. The right price is probably quite a lot.
Yeah, it has to be the right price. Clearly, we'd sell none of them because no one can have them.
Yeah.
So you're saying if someone came in and offered you 120 million for two of those players, right? That's what you're saying, isn't it?
But what I'm saying is a right price for Antonio in his form right now is probably 30 million. Say for Reed, it's probably 20 million purely because he's a centre back.
Yeah, the only time I said Reed, I think he can be covered.
Yeah. So I would sell Antonio. That's the first one I would sell. Now I'm going to think about Lanzini, Obiang, and Reed.
Yeah, I can't sell Lanzini. What I said, Obiang's my new favourite player. Yeah, I guess it would have to be Antonio as well. But it sounds terrible. I need.
Who else? You have to sell two.
I said Reed and Antonio.
Reed. I would sell Obiang and Antonio. Reed, wait. Reed's been consistent. Reed's been here 7 years now, and he's been up consistent for a lot of years. And I struggle to think of a centre back in the Premier League you could buy to replace him.
Yeah.
I know you'll say Van Dijk, but apart from that, I cannot think of one. Obiang, he's only done it for 6-7 months. Now I know everyone's going to give me stick. Yes, he's played fantastic. He's having a good season. I get that, but he's done it for 6-7 months. Reed's been doing it for years. And Lanzini, not selling him. He's the best player I've ever seen at West Ham, I think. Or he's going to be the best player I've ever seen at West Ham for me. But anyway, that's it for tonight. Gonzo, have you enjoyed that one?
I have enjoyed it. Very good. Very good. Never know what's coming, do you?
Ryan keeps asking me about Snodgrass if I think he's a first-team player.
So give Ryan an answer. Go on.
Some games. Depends who we're playing. I think he's a bit like... I think he's a squad player. He's not Lanzini. He's not first name on the team sheet. He's like a Faguli. He will play that game, but not that game. It depends who we're playing, how we're set up. He's got his place, but he's not a first team starter. That's my opinion on my country. I think he's asking because I'm Scottish. But anyway, hit the subscribe button. I'll be back Tuesday night on my own with my review. We'll be back with our preview for the Chelsea game. Gonzo's going to the Chelsea game, so we'll have a review for the Chelsea game. Gonzo will have his vlog for the Chelsea. Loads of content coming. We're spoiling you. We're absolutely spoiling you. Oh, so we are attending the Ironman premiere ourselves. Just one of us are going on Thursday night. So Friday night we will have a vlog up from it. There might be one or two special people in it, so don't miss it. Subscribe. See you tomorrow night.